Well, first of all, I can't believe that it's actually March. I don't know where 2020 is going, but welcome to my challenge for this month. So this is obviously the first video that I'm doing explaining the start of a challenge, but basically what I decided at the start of the year was each month to set myself a little bit of a challenge to improve some habits and basically live a little better. I've been sharing that across my social channels, so across Instagram, but I thought that I would start to evolve that a little bit more and share with you so that you can join me on the journey if you choose to. So this month I'm doing 31 days without sugar, and the reason behind that is simply that I have got serious issues when it comes to sugar. So I've always had a really, I swear every tooth in my mouth is a sweet tooth. Sugar is a real crutch for me. It's my weakness above anything else. It's lollies and sweets and chocolate of any form. I can't even explain it. It has such a hold on me, but obviously it causes me a lot of troubles because we all know sugar is not very good for us. And the addiction that I have is, sometimes it runs my life. It's, if I'm craving sugar and I don't have sweets in the house, I can resort to, I can look for anything. It can get so bad for me that I have in the past, and this is a huge thing to admit, is I can take a spoon to a container of sugar and just eat the sugar. That I have reached that point before in the past. So sugar is a really big thing for me. As I said, sweets, chocolate, things like caramel slices, or caramel in general. Condensed milk is my ultimate sin food. Fudge, anything that's really quite sweet, I can't get enough of it, even when my body is hurting and telling me to please stop, that it can't stand anymore. I can't stop eating it. So sugar is a real addiction, just as nicotine or alcohol or other drugs and things like that. It is a real, the addiction process is the same even though it's a different substance. So stopping it is the same process as trying to quit alcohol or nicotine and things like that. You experience withdrawals, you experience all those sorts of, health. You get the health problems, but then you have you go through the withdrawal process, so you have the opposite effect and things like that. But overall, the benefit of it is that you live a better life and your body is healthier and happier and all those sorts of things. So the goal this month is to go 31 days without it. I have tried to quit in the past. It has been, I guess no quitting, every attempt at quitting is successful in the sense that you are making an effort to stop, obviously. I think the longest that I went without sugar, the last time that I properly quit was, I think I managed to go actually a couple of months. I think it was probably up to maybe 10 to 12 weeks I went. Unfortunately, just like any other addiction, if you slide off the wagon a little bit, you kind of slide all the way off. So I got to a point where I wasn't eating anything. And put it this way, Cadbury brought out that caramel milk for the second time, and I was doing so well on my no sugar thing that I didn't buy it, and that is so huge for me to have not bought that chocolate. So anyway, so that was then, but then I got to the point, I think one day I had a little bit of something, I think it was probably, it was Easter, I can't remember. Anyway, I had a little bit of something, and then unfortunately it just started to, I was like, well, I can have a little bit more, and I could have a little bit more, and next thing you know, I'm back to buying packets of sweets and chocolate and stuff like that, and I fell off the wagon. So ramble cut short, here are some of the reasons why it's important to look at least reducing your sugar intake. So we know that sugar is not good for our bodies, but sometimes we don't know exactly what it's doing to us. So the most obvious thing is that it can make you fat, and I don't like to use the word because it's not all about, you can only, that fat is bad or whatever, but it does add weight to your body, or it can hinder the ability to lose weight if that's what you're trying to do. It causes you to retain fluid. So I certainly find that a lot. I find that everything is a little bit puffier when I'm eating a lot of sugar. My face feels puffier, my body feels puffier, I retain fluid. It can make you bloated. That causes me a lot of trouble. I suffer from irritable bowel syndrome already, so the addition of heavily refined sugars actually causes my gut a lot of trouble. It makes your skin not great, whether it's that it gives you sort of pimples or a bit of acne or anything like that, but it also just, it can dull your skin, it can take away a lot of the complexion, it can cause you to get sort of fine lines and wrinkles and things like that, because the sugar is sort of sucking the moisture out of your skin and that sort of thing. Obviously it's not good for your organs, it's not good for your heart health, it's not good for your liver health, because it puts a lot of strain on them. Your liver obviously has to sort of process a lot of that sugar and get it out. As I said, it's not good for your gut, it's not good for your bowels, it's not good for any of your digestion to have a lot of that sugar sort of going through your body. So they're the main parts about your physical body, but it also has effects on your mind, it has effects on your ability to, like your memory ability, it has effects on your energy, like it makes you lethargic, it drags you down, it's, it can slow everything down, because it's, it's not a natural substance to be eating that heavily refined sugar. And the other thing that comes with sugar actually is the fact that, and this is probably the thing that interested me the most years ago when I first started looking at why was sugar such a big hassle. Your body doesn't recognize full when you're eating sugar. So if you're eating like natural foods, if you're eating fruits and vegetables or meats or breads or whatever, there comes a point where your body goes, okay, I'm full. Like, if you've eaten a meal, you've had dinner or something, you have a point where your stomach go, I've had enough now. Sugar doesn't have that impact on your body. Sugar tricks your body into thinking that you're not full. And that's part of that addiction process, is that you can eat some, but it's not like you've filled up your stomach with a meal and so your body goes, I'm not done, I think I need some more, And so it causes your body to work against you, and that can often be where that problem comes in, because you think, well, I'm not full, like I feel like I need to have it again. It's not like I ate, a piece of fruit and then I felt done. So there's some of the hassles that sugar can cause in your body, and on all part of the reasons why I'm looking to give it up. So you might notice that I look a little less made up than in some of my other videos, and that's quite simply because this is me right now. I have been fully off the wagon for far too long. I'm not wearing any makeup right now, so and I'm a little bit tired, so we'll add that to it. But this is me without makeup. This is how I'm looking right now as someone who has been eating too much sugar. And what I'm going to do is at the end of the month, when I do my recap, then you'll see what I look like when I have been off sugar for the entire month. So the goal is to see that there is obviously a difference in my body and in my energy and in everything that I'm feeling. And obviously I'll recap on that at the end. But I'll share some tips if you want to join me in trying this challenge with me. I'll share some tips about how we can do it successfully. Okay, so for those who are thinking of attempting the challenge with me to go all of March without eating sugar, here are some of the tips that I have for us being a little more successful about it. So the last time that I did this successfully until I fell off the wagon, the first thing I did was I downloaded an app to help keep me accountable. So the app that I used is called I Am Sober. I'm sure there are other ones out there. I was recommended to this one by a friend. It's actually really good. You can do all sorts of, you can have multiple addictions in here that you're wanting to work on. So obviously it's got sort of the most basic ones, alcohol, cigarettes, all sorts of drugs, those sorts of things. But there's also like there's bread, there's caffeine, what else is there? Like cookies. It's even got things like eating disorders, gambling, meat and dairy if you're trying to go off animal products. All sorts of, it's got social media. We might have to use that. Maybe we'll use it next month when we do the social media one as well. All sorts of video games and things like that. So you can have multiples going. So, but obviously every day it tells you how long, it keeps adding to how long you've been sober for. It sends you encouragements every day and things like that. I found that I didn't like, I know it's just an app, but I found that I didn't like lying to it. So it became easier for me to not touch it, because I knew that if I ate the sugar, when it would ask me that day if I had been successful at my goal, I found it really hard to, I knew that I couldn't lie and say that I had if I knew that I hadn't. So, and then after a while it got easier to keep avoiding it. So I found that really helpful. And as I said, and it has different milestones and things like that. So highly suggest downloading an app such as this one. As I said, this one's called I Am Sober, but I'm sure there are other ones that you can find. It's just about keeping you accountable every day. The second thing we need to do is to throw out all the things that are going to tempt us. So, case in point, I knew that I was going to be starting the challenge today. So yesterday I had to go out somewhere, and on the way back I stopped and I bought some sugar. So really great start to the challenge, but there's a couple left in this packet, and the idea is even if it's open, even if it's not open, throw out anything that might tempt you. So these ones, although my husband has his eye set on them, so they'll be thrown out into his mouth, basically. He's going to eat them. But that's the first thing we need to do, is we need to throw out anything that you have in the cupboard, anything in the fridge or the freezer. So get rid of ice creams, get rid of sweets, get rid of chocolates, get rid of sweet biscuits, get rid of anything and everything that may tempt you that's going to stop you from succeeding at this. The next thing we need to do is stock up on some alternatives. So that means we're going to need to be doing a lot more of fresh foods, but things that basically when we feel those cravings come on, that we have something ready to go. So a really good one that you can always just carry around is something like a banana, which obviously has a lot of benefits, but there's it's sweet and it can also work as a bit of a meal substitution. So sometimes when we eat sugar, it's because we are actually hungry for food, but we substitute it with sugar. So it's probably better to start with real food and work on that instead. So a banana is a really good snack. You can carry that around. Also down the fruit path is obviously things like grapes. These ones have been sitting in my fridge, so they're not the happiest looking things. But the other good thing about grapes is that they're really high in water content, so it actually helps you to stay hydrated, which is really important as well, whether you're going off sugar or not. So grapes are really good for your fruit. Healthy fats, so things like avocado, if you do eat animal products, things like bacon or like a halloumi or cheeses and things which have a healthy fat in them. They actually help fill you up better than eating sugar. So as I said, or eggs, things like that, they're really good to eat instead. Make sure you have things like cut up vegetable sticks with some dips, and if you cut them up ahead of time, then when you feel those cravings come on and you want to quickly snack on something, you don't have to go about the process of cutting it up. It's already there for you. And the idea is that you open the fridge and you'll see them and you'll grab them first instead. Other snacks are things like popcorn is really good instead of having sort of sweeter snacks or even like chips, because you don't want to swap out the sweet with too much savory. Like you don't want to go from eating sweets and chocolate to eating breads and biscuits and things like that. So I personally don't actually like popcorn, but I know that it's a much healthier alternative to eating, say, potato chips or anything like that. So yay for eating popcorn, yay! The fourth one is drink a shit ton of water, right? And I mean like drink water all the time. So I find that I drink water better out of a bigger bottle. Like I'm not a glass drinking sort of girl. I find that if I have to drink out of, like if I'm just using a glass, I'll probably have one and then forget about it. But something about a bottle, and I prefer a bigger bottle. So this is a 1 litre bottle. And I will drink 2 or 3 of these in a day, which is excellent. But it's really important, especially when you're quitting sugar and you're starting to go through the withdrawal process, that you keep hydrated. Again, sometimes we eat sugars because our body is actually needs fluid, so it needs hydration, and we have a tendency to put sugar in instead. So make sure you're drinking water. If you need to, what some people do is that you can get a big bottle and get a permanent marker and mark some points on it and put times on it. Say, well, I need to have drank this much by 9 o'clock and this much by 10 o'clock and whatever. And that might help you, because then you look at it and go, oh, it's 12 o'clock and I'm only at the 10 o'clock mark. I need to drink this much. So that's a good way, if you're not very good at drinking water, do that. Sometimes you might also just find that the temperature of water might help it be easier for you to drink. Some people prefer it at, I'm quite happy drinking water at room temperature, but you might prefer it when it's sort of ice cold. So either keep some in the fridge or just stuff a bunch of ice in it, whatever is easy for you. Just stay hydrated, stay off the soft drinks, stay away from the juices. Water is the best thing that you can drink, especially when you are getting rid of sugar, so stay away from everything else. The very last thing is that you need to be aware that you are going to go through the withdrawal process. You will feel the mood swings. You will feel tired. I get really bad headaches when I go off sugar. It also increases my anxiety. So luckily, in February we did the mindfulness challenge, so I am aware of the fact that I will need to practice that mindfulness when I'm starting to get anxious and a bit on edge from going off the sugar. There is a physical reaction in your body when you stop putting it in, because it's going, well, I need this to function, where is it? So do be aware that you're going to go through some of these things. As I said, you might get headaches, you might find that you have too much energy or not enough energy, you might struggle to sleep, you might have physical reactions in your body, your muscles, things like that. So be aware that it's going to happen. You might, as I said, you might have mood swings, you might find yourself quite emotional or getting angry or overly excited or sad or anything like that. So be aware that your body is going to go through some changes over the next couple of weeks. The idea is to, as I said, be prepared for that. Know that when it's happening, that we need to just push through it, because when you push it, and that's kind of how that addiction works and why we stay stuck to it, because we don't like the pain of not taking that substance in, whatever it might be. To get past that addiction, we need to push through the feeling, those withdrawal feelings that where your body goes, I really, really, really need it. We have to ignore all of that and know that we're doing the right thing, and that if we keep pushing through, those withdrawal symptoms will eventually cease. So remember that that's going to happen, and it's a good idea maybe document it down. I think you can probably even do that in the app. Document how you're feeling every day, and what you'll find is over time it gets a little easier to stay away from that. So I'm really looking forward to starting I've already started the challenge because today is the first. I'm a little bit nervous because I know what it's like to give up sugar, and I really hate having to do it, because the problem is I do enjoy eating it. I just don't enjoy what it does to my body. So I am aware that all of the things I've just talked about are going to be really crucial to success for me, but the long-term goal is to look and feel and know that I'm taking better care of my body. So it's going to happen. Now, I will just put a little disclaimer. I obviously am no expert when it comes to addictions. If you suffer from a severe addiction to any substance, please do seek professional help. This challenge is just about cutting back on the everyday eating of sugar, living a little better, and removing some unnecessary toxins from our diet every day. So as I said, if you really do have problems with any form of substance, please do seek professional help, because there's plenty out there, and you can beat anything that is holding you back. So I will keep you posted. As I said, if you are wanting to join the challenge with me, you can comment here, you can email me through my site, you can DM me on Instagram, and we'll just check in with each other. We'll keep each other accountable. We can share how we're feeling when we're going through all these withdrawal symptoms. And at the end of the month, I'll do a recap, and hopefully all of this looks better. Hopefully all of this feels better. And I will be better for having gone without sugar for the month of March. And if all goes well, we'll stick with it. So stay tuned.